Welcome in, Jake West, Director of Team FY and Sports, joined by Caleb Tallman. This is the Western North Carolina edition of the Friday Night Pressbox, presented by Team FY and Sports. This is a special show here. We're going to have our awards show. We're going to give some love to some of these individual athletes that played so hard this year and played 2 football seasons in 1 year. So hopefully that never has to happen again. But it was kind of fun to end one and then start another one. But if you keep up with us at all, you know, we posted last night the coaches' selections for their all Smoky Mountain Conference nominations. And they voted as D. Walsh from Robbinsville to win Coach of the Year, took his team to the Western Regional Championship, and lost to Mitchell, unfortunately. Lineman of the Year, Carlos Wesley, also from Robbinsville, and Drew Martin from Andrews. Both of them paved the way for their backs to rack up a lot of yards. And then back of the year is Don Bradley from Cherokee. He was vital in Cherokee pulling off that big upset over eventual conference champions, Robbinsville. And he did a lot for his team offensively and also defensively. So obviously our awards are going to be a little different. Ours are kind of a media awards. We talked to some of the other media members around the conference, and some of our sports writers and other sports writers from different newspapers, and got their opinion. And that's how we decided on these awards. We also decided on these awards with the help from you guys. We posted a poll on our Facebook page and let you guys have your vote as to who should win what award. And then we got together and kind of narrowed it down and decided who should get what. So let's get things right underway. Our kind of the new award we just started giving out last year. Our newcomer of the year is going to be Hunter Stalker from Murphy. He really helped his team out a lot and was vital in that backfield, which was kind of dwindled due to some injuries with John Ledford being hurt and not being able to play at all last year. That really allowed Hunter Stalker to kind of step into this much bigger role and rack up 951 all-purpose yards, 81 carries, 651 yards rushing, 8 yards per carry. Just played a big part in Murphy's success this year and getting them all the way into the 4th round before eventually losing to Robbinsville. But great year from Stalkup. One of the most impressive things from him is how well he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. It's pretty impressive what he's able to do. But he can also get it done on the ground, as you see there against Hayesville, I believe, just scampering in for a touchdown. He's got some really good speed that you wouldn't think would come out of a little white guy like that. But, I mean, he's fast, and he also, I mean, you can't say enough about his hands coming out of the backfield. Probably the best hands, definitely top 2 hands coming out of the backfield in the conference. Caleb, just from what you saw this year, what impressed you from Stalkup, and why do you think he deserved newcomer of the year?
One of the things I think is really underrated for him, and I think underrated overall as a skill set, I think he's got great vision. He's not once he hits the hole, listen, he's tough and he's fast, but he's not I'm just going to get, he played fullback a lot for Murphy, but it's not like he did fullback dive and close his eyes and tried to, grind out 2 hard yards like we're used to seeing some old school fullbacks do. I mean, he didn't get as many touches, but at times it's like when he got touches, it's like his vision is so good that it seems like every single time he touched the ball is a big gain. And then same thing, it's like, especially the way Murphy runs their passing offense off a ton of play action, the receivers have a lot of freedom in that offense, whether they're running their route 8 yards or 15 yards. And I just feel like not only does he have great hands, he's really good at finding holes in those zone passing defenses that most teams run. So just, big year for a sophomore. And I think he'll be a name to watch over the next couple years as well, because you saw it at Murphy throughout the year. He just kept progressing and progressing and progressing. And come playoff time, I mean, he was, one of their go-to guys in the offense.
Yeah, somebody else that was in the running for newcomer of the year is Titan Teesteski from Robbinsville. He received a lot of votes in our fan vote as well. But we went with Stalkup due to the fact that he contributed all year. It seemed like Titan just kind of came on later in the year, which obviously helped Robbinsville out and led them to the Western Regional Championship. But just the fact that Hunter was there all year and able to contribute kind of edged him out over Titan. But both of those two are going to be guys to watch and guys to keep up with in the coming seasons, because they've got a lot of football left, a lot of tread left on those tires. So
yeah. And one thing I want to mention too is, just because it's such an odd year, we talked about that spring football season. There's a lot of guys because, I know Stalker's a sophomore. There's some other sophomores in the conference that weren't eligible for our little award here just because they played on varsity as freshmen. Kids like Cutler Adams, who we'll get to in a minute, and also guys like Taylor McClure, Cage Williams. I mean, a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. We've got probably more so, I would say, now than ever, more young contributors on all of these Smoky Mountain Conference teams. I would say more so than ever. But moving right along with our awards, our lineman of the year definitely goes to Carlos Wesley. I mean, I don't think there was anybody else, any other lineman in the conference that came close to being able to do what he did. As you can see right there on the graphic, he cleared the way for 3,975 rush yards and 1,288 pass yards. Obviously, it wasn't all him, but man, he could clear a hole that a semi truck could run through, and that helped out his running backs and Cage and Cutler a lot. And it also gave Dason some time to throw the ball and rack up over 1,000 passing yards. So just can't say enough about Carlos and what he meant to this Robbinsville team. Yes, Robbinsville's young, but losing Carlos Wesley to graduation is really going to take a big hit for them because of what he means to that line and just also the kind of leader he is. I mean, you just see him always keeps his head down and gets to work, and that's the kind of kid you want on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got the ability, especially as a D tackle, just to absolutely eat blocks. And then when you see him on offense, it's like you're looking, because he played inside a lot. You're kind of looking at your buddy that's the other D tackle if you're on defense facing Carlos. So you're like, hey, you want to switch sides with me? Because I really don't feel like getting pancaked by this kid. He's one of those kids too. It's like you may know better than I do, Jake. I don't think he's got any big college offers yet. And maybe I don't even know if he's interested in necessarily going to the next level. He's one of those kids, like, maybe he doesn't have that prototypical height, but he's one of those kids that goes to a Western Carolina or a Carson Newman or somewhere like that, and 2 or 3 years down the road, you hear that, he was honorable mention SoCon as a sophomore and then first team all-conference SoCon as a senior, as one of the walk-on kids, because I think a lot of times Smoky Mountain Conference kids don't get the love they deserve when it comes to the college football level. But Carlos Wesley, let him play D tackle or left guard for my college ball team. I don't know if many coaches have his film yet, but they should.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll try to pump him up as much as possible, and try to get him out there, because there's no reason he should not have any offers to play football, any big time offers to play football, because he's great. He's a stallion out there. He just pushes people around and moves them out of the way, whether it be offensively or defensively. And he's been really fun to watch through 4 years. Here's an offensive highlight for him right here, and we'll be done with Carlos after this one. But look at that, just pushing kids around and getting them out of the way. He's been fun to watch, and he's going to be fun to keep up with in the coming years, no matter what he does. But moving right along, let's go to our offensive player of the year, Don Bradley. Coming into the year, he was our preseason offensive player of the year. Man, he stuck with it. 713 pass yards, 11 pass touchdowns, and he also rushed for over 1,000 yards and had 16 or 18 rush touchdowns. I can't remember, but really good stuff from Bradley. He's incredible to watch. It's awesome to see what he does. You can see his stats right there on the graphic. He's awesome to watch. If you go back and watch his highlights, it's incredible. If you solely followed your team in the Smoky Mountain Conference, and you didn't keep up with much of what anybody else did, you at least knew who Don Bradley was, because he's a game breaker. He was one of those guys where if he was on NCAA football or Madden, he would definitely have the star underneath him, because he changed the game every time he was on the field.
Yeah, we found some of his highlights, getting all these courtesy of Huddle. I mean, and the thing about him, too, is he's so shifty, but his top gear is still pretty stinking fast. And the thing is, too, especially Cherokee, and they don't always have the numbers. He played both ways. He had interceptions on defense this year. I mean, obviously, he's super important on offense. And it's like, he's one of those types. It didn't matter, Jake, if it was 4th and 25. It just like, you felt like if you had him on the field, he was always going to make the play necessary. I mean, and a lot of times he did. He was vital in the upset of Robbinsville, and he almost led an upset of Murphy.
Yeah, that Murphy game, one of the best games of the year. But, I mean, yeah, like I said, when Bradley's out there, you never know what he's going to be able to do. And speaking of college football players, this guy's definitely a college football player. I don't care if it's on offense or defense or both. I mean, he's just an athlete, and we're going to get to see him play basketball here this year during basketball season. I mean, it's incredible what he does on the football field, on the basketball court, really anywhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that notion whatsoever. I mean, he's just absolutely incredible. And he even plays baseball too, Jake. I actually got to umpire a high school baseball game last year where Don Bradley was the catcher. And that was one of my most enjoyable moments of the spring baseball season when I filled in as they were super short on officials. Because kid's just hilarious too. He's a great kid. All his teammates love him. Really funny kid. And just always has a great attitude.
Yeah, he does, and that's kind of the theme with a lot of these guys. I mean, they work hard on the field, and they're also just really good guys off the field. So congratulations to Don Bradley. I mean, probably my favorite guy to watch play football this year, just because of how shifty he was, how quick he was, what he was able to do. We knew when he was a freshman that he was going to be something to watch for the next 4 years, and he definitely lived up to the hype.
Yeah, he lived up to it and then some.
But moving right along, let's move to our athlete of the year, kind of a new award that we've been giving out. Somebody that does things on both sides of the football, offensively, defensively, also is a game changer in special teams. Isaac Weaver. I mean, it's Isaac Weaver from Andrews. It's pretty incredible what he's able to do on both sides of the football. And he racked up a whole lot of yardage on offensively. I think he had 9 interceptions, which was second in the state. And we'll pull up his highlights and talk about him a little bit more when we get back from break. Let's take a quick break and roll some commercials, let you hear from our sponsors, and then we'll get back to highlighting Isaac Weaver and just exactly what he meant to a Robbinsville team that was one of the best Robbinsville Andrews teams maybe ever to step foot on the field.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
3rd time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey girl, you not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay, I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reid Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff. At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the endless aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
3rd time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey girl, you not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reid Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back, Jake West, Director of Team F1 Sports, joined by Caleb Tallman. This is the Western North Carolina edition of the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team F1 Sports. This is our awards show. We're taking a little bit of time to highlight some of these athletes individually, and we were just talking about our Athlete of the Year, Isaac Weaver, and how good he was before we went to break. Caleb, pull up some of his highlights. I think he had over 1,500 yards, all-purpose yards offensively. Also, I think, was he 2nd in the state and like 9th in the nation in interceptions?
2nd and 5th. He was 1st in all of 1A in interceptions, 2nd in the state in interceptions, and overall 1A through 4A. And I think he was 5th in the nation in interceptions overall. I mean, so just absolutely incredible. He was one of those kids, and we had 1 or 2 that were like that. Jake, I mean, you know, Cutler Adams comes to mind, and some others, Taylor McClure, like, you know, he could have been Athlete of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, he eligible for every one of those, basically, and he got votes for all of those.
Yeah, definitely one of the most fun players to watch. I mean, all these kids are obviously really fun to watch, but Weaver obviously can't say enough about how pivotal he was in Andrews having as good a season as they did, and getting the big upset over Mitchell, making it to the 2nd round, barely losing in the 2nd round. First time for Andrews. I think it's first back-to-back winning seasons for Andrews since 66, 67, I believe, if the records are correct. So, I mean, awesome what he was able to do. And he also, I think, was pretty banged up for quite a bit of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's, you know, that's bound to happen, to be pretty banged up when you when you have the type of workload that he has offensively, defensively. It's like, you know, he's one of those kids, you want to get him off the field on special teams to give him a blow. But if it's a big special teams play, you kind of need him out there for that as well. I mean, he's truly a do-it-all kid for them. Can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah, he's going to be really fun to watch next year, as is that Andrews team as a whole. And let's just stick with Andrews and pop up the next graphic up there. Our Team FYN Sports Coach of the Year is head coach James Phillips of the Wildcats. I mean, he 7-4 overall record, and like we said, led Andrews to their first back-to-back winning season since 63, 64, or 67, 68. I don't know, sometime in the 60s, as far as our records can tell. So congratulations, Coach Phillips and Coach Manley and everybody else on that staff over there in Andrews, Coach Martin. Those guys, really awesome. I know they would attribute it all to the athletes they had, but those athletes also had very good direction from these coaches. It was fun to be over there in Andrews and get to live stream some of those games and get to see kids like Isaac Weaver and Austin Martin and Drew Martin and Cole Anderson and Donovan Bateman. Get to see those guys put out an awesome product on the field. I mean, one of my favorite moments from the year was when Andrews pulled off the upset over Mitchell and came away with that big win. And then they just, when you think they've got the biggest win of their program for the year, they beat Murphy at home for the first time in 40 years. And they just keep one-upping it every year. And next year, they're legitimate contenders for a state title.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that with them bringing back as much as they're bringing back is really just incredible to say what they did this year. And I think bringing back all they bring back, I think, and we'll do some of this maybe here in just a minute, but like in summation for them, I want Andrews football to stay healthy this offseason and go to as many as possible 7-on-7s as they can. And so work on that passing game, and it'll be something to behold next year, really.
Yeah, I mean, they've got that awesome 1-2 punch with Austin Martin and Isaac Weaver, and then they've got some good wide receivers. And speaking of running backs with hands, we talked about how good Hunter Stalker is coming out of the backfield, but Isaac Weaver coming out of the backfield, I mean, I think if he was playing, no matter where he was playing, even if he was playing at a humongous high school and you moved him to wideout, he'd be one of your starting wideouts. I mean, we saw it when Tucker Holloway decided to transfer and move away from Andrews and go to Raven Gap. He became an awesome wideout, and now he's committed to Virginia Tech. I think we could see kind of the same thing from Isaac Weaver. I don't think Weaver's going to be leaving Andrews anytime soon, but I do think that we'll see him play college ball somewhere. Maybe not at the running back position, but just because of how good his hands are. But that's an underrated facet of his game that we didn't really talk about when we were talking about him being athlete of the year. But congratulations, Coach Phillips, and congratulations to the Andrews Wildcats and the whole town of Andrews as a whole. I mean, this year is definitely one to remember, and hopefully next year will be an even better one. So we're excited to keep up with it. Moving on, our defensive player of the year, Carson Taylor, from middle linebacker from Swain, 126 total tackles, 58 solo, 68 assists. Awesome stuff from him. From Swain County, he is a menace on the football field. There was games where he was having 18, 19 tackles per game. I think he also had a few sacks, and he was running the football for Swain on the offensive side of the ball too. So, I mean, he was a contributor all around. Defensive player of the year was one that we kind of struggled on. There was a lot of different nominees and stuff, but I mean, once you look at the tape from Carson Taylor, you can definitely see why he was the eventual winner of our defensive player of the year, because, I mean, we had nominations from all over the place, from Drew Martin and Andrews to Cage Williams in Robbinsville, Brock Adams made a case in Robbinsville with as many interceptions and tackles as he had. Really great lockdown cornerback. But all in all, I mean, Carson Taylor is definitely the guy. I mean, just watching some of his film here, you can tell why he is Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. Great year, and it's like it always impresses me when a kid racks up 100+ tackles, and he's also his team's go-to running back. It just shows you his durability and his toughness. And I don't know if he's playing at the next level or not, but he's one of those kids that I hope he gets the chance, because I think, you know, even though he played fullback and running back for Swain a lot, I really think he's your prototypical middle or strong side linebacker that is just a tackling machine that can do really big things for Swain County, or that did big things for Swain County, but could also help, you know, a smaller college at the next level as well. I know a lot of his highlights in here are offensive, but we know, ask any coach around the conference, and he was a guy you were game planning for defensively.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see some of his defensive highlights if you go to his huddle and just watch him game by game. But not only ask any coach, ask any player in the conference, and they'll tell you Carson Taylor was one of the hardest hitting guys in the conference and was not afraid to get back there in the backfield and just gobble you up. As you can see him there, coming up with a big stop. So he was really fun to watch, and I mean, definitely another guy that we'll probably be seeing play at the next level, and we can't wait to keep up with him. I mean, Swain County, if you want to pull those highlights down, Caleb, Swain County came out in droves to vote in our Player of the Year voting and stuff on Google and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see all the stuff from Swain and all their fans coming out there and voting. I mean, they almost had they almost pulled away with every one of our awards just because of all the voting that they did. So it's cool to see. Obviously, Swain County's got a huge fan base. But let's get down to the last award, the biggest award we're going to give out, our overall Player of the Year. I mean, I think everybody saw this coming. Nobody's going to be shocked by this. Cutler Adams from Robbinsville. Obviously, I mean, without a doubt, racked up the most yards in the conference and missed a game. Actually, really missed 2 games with over 2,500 all-purpose yards, 32 total touchdowns. Also added 54 tackles on defense. 32 touchdowns is an incredible feat. And speaking of talking to people around the conference, I mean, that was the unanimous decision as to who should be Player of the Year. Obviously, some other people were up there in the running due to the fan vote. But we had over, I think, 8,000 votes, and Cutler Adams was up there in the 3,000 range. So, I mean, pretty unanimous decision here on who to give Player of the Year to. What he was able to do defensively as well as offensively was awesome, and the fact that he's just a sophomore makes it even better because it's going to be so much fun to see what he's able to do the next 2 years. It's unfortunate that due to COVID, he only got to play a certain amount of games last year. Didn't get a full season in, so that may hurt him if he's going to make a run at the rushing record for Robbinsville. But I still think he could do it. I think he could do the.
I think with 2 full years left, he's got a shot at it. And obviously, he's going to have to stay healthy. And I think, you know, I'll be really curious to see about it because I think a lot's going to depend on the type of schedule Robbinsville puts together. And when I say that in the aspect of if they put together a tough non-conference schedule like they did this year for the next 2 years, I think he's got a really good chance at it. What you don't want to see if you're hoping for Cutler Adams to break it is some weak non-conference games where he rushes for 80 yards in the first half and then sits the bench the second half because they're killing him. Because he's one of those kids, I don't care who you're playing, he's going to get 150 rushing yards as long as he gets his touches. And if D. Walsh sticks around for another year or 2 here, he's going to get his touches. I mean, he's going to hand the ball to Cutler as many times as Cutler can handle it.
Yeah, Cutler's usage rate, I mean, was incredible to see. But we do hope that he's able to get 100%. I mean, I know he played the rest of the year after sitting out that game. But I don't. And he obviously looked like he was 100%. But still, you got to think those injuries could have been nagging at him the whole time. But it's going to be awesome to watch him just kind of grow up out there on the football field. And in talking to him and doing interviews with him after some of the games and talking to his dad for a little bit and meeting some of his family, I mean, just he comes from a great background. He's got a great upbringing, and he's one of the best kids I've ever met on the football field. I mean, him, Kellen Rumfeld, and some other kids. I mean, they're just guys who want to be out there on the field, and they also they're playing with a purpose, and they want to make sure they can go out there and put the best product that they can out on the field and represent their school and their community. And they are also big in their faith, so that's awesome to see out on the football field for sure. But I think if you ask anybody around the Smoky Mountain Conference who was the best player in the Smoky Mountain Conference this year, without a doubt, they're going to tell you that it was Cutler Adams from Robbinsville. I mean, even people that don't keep up with the Smoky Mountain Conference know who Cutler is. And I guarantee you those schools that Robbinsville played in the playoffs that aren't from around here definitely know who Cutler Adams is. And even those schools that they played where they lost that game to Brevard. They lost the game to the school from Tennessee. I guarantee you those kids remember who Cutler Adams is, and it's going to be awesome to see him leave his mark on everybody everybody he comes in contact with. I mean, he's going to remember who this kid is. That's how special he is. So he's going to be fun to keep up with, and I can't wait to see him as well as all the other kids. Shout out to all the seniors on all the teams. We're going to come out with our own all conference list later on. It'll be posted either tonight or tomorrow morning. Kind of who the media voted on that deserves some recognition. Some kids that maybe didn't make the coaches all conference list will be on ours. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and keep up with us. We'll post that one later on. But congratulations to all the seniors. And if you're a senior and you're going to play football somewhere, shoot us a DM on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and let us know where you're going to play. We'd love to come cover your signing. If you do end up signing to play somewhere, or even if you just get an offer, I mean, send it to us. We'd love to promote it. Or if you don't have any offers, send us your highlight videos and we'll get them out there and promote them as much as we can. Got some pretty good connections with some recruiters and stuff. So we'd love to help you out as much as we can. Caleb, anything you want to say, just recapping the football season as a whole?
Yeah, just two things. Like you said, we love to promote and highlight all of our athletes. So, like, just going to go off what you said. Same thing, like, and I'll mention, like, I know Logan Caldwell's going to play in an all-star game this upcoming weekend on Saturday down in Atlanta. If you're playing anything like that this winter, or you get a spring game invite for some of the all-star stuff they do or showcase things they do, if it's anything to do with the Smoky Mountain Conference athlete, football, as we're talking about that right now, or really any sport, we want to highlight you and promote you. So let us know. We can even help you making some of those highlight videos if you need assistance. And then the biggest thing, Jake, is I'm just really excited because I don't know if there's ever been a year where whether it be in our awards or me and you are already looking at the all-conference team, where there's so many guys that are underclassmen that garnered awards, whether it was in the coaches or in our media one. The conference brings back a ton of talent next year. Robbinsville brings back a ton. Hayesville and Andrews bring back a ton. And then it's going to be interesting because teams like Murphy and Swain and Cherokee, they've got some really, really good pieces coming back. And then they're also going to have to find, two of them are going to have to find an answer at quarterback and some other positions. But we'll get into that some more here as we get towards spring football. We do a couple more of these shows. And I just want to encourage everyone, if you've only watched our football show, don't miss out on our Western North Carolina shoot-around that comes out on Wednesday nights, just like this show, but basketball and wrestling and that kind of stuff, winter sports. But I just want to take the moment to thank everyone that's watched you and I banter along all season. I know we're not always the best to look at, but hopefully you enjoyed the highlights and watching me specifically get pretty much every one of my predictions wrong.
Yeah, it's been a fun year. It's been fun to follow the Smoky Mountain Conference, obviously, and we're looking forward to next year. But congrats to all the guys that got awards, and if you didn't get one, just more fuel to the fire to get it next year. And seniors, congratulations! Thank you for letting us follow along with you all year. And we're excited to get 2021, 2022, 2023 season started. So that's going to do it for us. For Caleb Tallman, this is Jake West. This is the Western North Carolina edition of the Friday Night Press Box. Signing off one last time for the 2021-2022 season.